don't practice it. And that's where I keep trying to tell people we have a practice that we need to tap into, but first we need to understand what we need to do to have the practice. So let me start the show, Dr. Shaniva. So welcome everyone to the Healthy Mind. I'm doing this every morning, and this is the first week in the Healthy Mind that I have had a guest on because, as you know, I've been going over the rational mind, the wise mind, the emotional mind, and then last week we went over communication. And this week we were going to go over, we still are, we're going to go over some of the body parts and how to heal our body parts, whether it be our heart, our liver, our lung, because all those have an effect on how we're thinking and how we're producing. But I actually reached out to a friend of mine who's in India, so you can see her on behind me, my back shoulder here, and we're Skyping. And Dr. Shaniva, tell us where you are so people can be like, oh, great, she's...
So hello everyone, I'm from India and I'm in Delhi at the moment, and thank you Dr. Dyer for inviting me on your show. I'm a great fan of your work, and what I'm also trying to do here is that because I'm into expressive art therapy and I'm into tarot and I meditate a lot, so this is all I'm trying to combine it in such a way that people can, at this time, especially at this time when there's a social distancing and we're feeling vulnerable and there's a lot of anxiety happening, so how we can help from wherever we are, doing small bits of our part, like you are doing your part, I'm doing my part, and how we can help people to come out of this times that they feel vulnerable all about. So how we can shift our frequency from hate, fear to shift our frequencies to love, joy, happiness, and this feeling of together that we have in the family. I mean, I don't remember spending so much of time in the past, so many years, like you are doing it now. So this is my part in helping people out to reach to themselves and their inner voice, rather than just feeling or complaining or just feeling, why am I stuck like this?
You know, it's funny what I think that when we hear news about the world and between our space, between where I am and where you are, we tend to lose so much of connection with even our own selves and with other people. And I keep trying to have this relationship or correlation that what we are, we transmit to other people. So if you are secluded within your own self and your own personal love, you seclude others even in your own house. And then if you seclude people even in your own house, then you have no connection with the global community.
Absolutely true. I agree with that. And to find out if you are connected or not connected, that is why I always say spend at least 20 minutes with yourself. That's still of meditation, whatever time you can, whether it is these times or the times in future. People who cannot connect with themselves, they cannot connect with the humanity. This is what I have felt during the times when I was meditating and I'm not meditating. So I know the difference when you're meditating and when you're not meditating. And I've seen people who meditate, they are able to understand what is happening first inside them, and if I love myself, then only I can love the other person. Like you said, they cannot connect with the outside world,
right,
or outside community. So it is very essential that I myself have a disciplined routine and I'm able to carry it out irrespective of whatever schedules or meetings or things I have in my life. If I'm not able to do simple thing in my life, which is just spending 20 minutes with myself, I feel that if that self-discipline is not there, I cannot connect to my wife, or I cannot connect to my husband, or I cannot connect to my children. I'll be very much into my own world.
You know, with parents, there are a lot of, well, kids are home and parents are working with their children. What is some of those art therapy that they can help them release this fear that they're going through, because you do a lot of art therapy.
Yes, yes. So to start with, like I said, even the series of lessons that I'm posting on my Instagram, they're very small lessons which are only for half an hour. And to start with, how we can spend that time together. So if a parent is telling a child, "Ki, okay, this is a lesson and you do it," they're not going to be a part of their inner self, or the work is not going to happen. But if a parent can also step in for 15-20 minutes and spend that time and see how they can be a part of that lesson and let their art also come out. And if they're having fear when you're talking about it, let's say you had a 20 minutes art session, let's say I've just said, why don't you go back to your memory and just see what was the happiest moment you had in the past or in your childhood. And if a parent is also sitting there and the child is also sitting there, let's say a grandparent is also sitting there at the same time, and everyone is doing that art. And when they finish after 20 minutes and everyone is sharing,
Yes.
so everyone is sharing their own past, that they're sharing their feelings, they're sharing their fear, they're sharing the anxiety. The child feels, okay, I'm not the only one. Even that person, my childhood, if I have gone through that, my father also went through the same thing, my mother went through the same thing. So that inner voice that they want answers, or the subconscious mind is receiving those answers when they're having a discussion among each other, which in the past they never had time to even think about. What was my father's childhood life, or what was my mother's childhood life, what was my grandparents' childhood life. There was no reason for them to sit and chat about it. But when you're doing art on a specific thing, like I have put the series of emotions, which was 10 lessons, then we have put the series of relaxation, which is 10 lessons, and now I started the series of gratitude.
Oh.
So, yes, so today I put the third lesson of gratitude there. So, when you're doing these series of 20 minutes art every day, now the art doesn't have to be specifically fantastic art. It's just your inner voice telling you what you felt at that moment, and you're just trying to play with colors. But what after that thing that you discuss with each other, that is what the child requires for their memories and for their future database.
You know, when I have referenced the inner voice once before, and I think when people are in their spirituality or their religion, and I try to remove myself from the word religion, because a lot of religion is so much dogmatic, and they become into this, I have to be this way, I have to, it develops these constructs, these barriers that people have to move away from. So spirituality, to me, is connection to all things connected to ourselves and without. So when people are listening to their inner voice, I think they feel like they not sure what voice is talking to them. So how do they discern? How would you help them discern the difference between a voice and the inner voice?
So to answer you, I'll answer very simple. To me, spirituality is all about being kind. So when I'm trying to listen to my inner voice, I have to first feel, do I feel kind towards me?
Yeah.
Religion is one thing, I understand. But when it comes to my inner voice, what kind of person am I? If I saw something, in somewhere someone is suffering, was I able to understand where they're coming from? Am I feeling good, or am I feeling bad about it, or I'm feeling very, very selfless about it, that I don't even care about it? So when you say spirituality has a lot to do with your inner voice, which is what kind of a person you are.
That is so true. I mean, to me, because gratitude and compassion and all those take work. I think it takes a true practice and training for you to develop gratitude and compassion. I don't think gratitude and compassion just comes down on you like rain. I think you.
I wish it could.
Yeah, I wish it could, because it'd be like, oh, here comes gratitude. It's coming. It's beautiful.
So on gratitude was, I'm just sharing with you without you even asking me, which was very difficult for me, because how to be difficult, how to have gratitude for people who are difficult with you.
Ooh.
So, because we all are together, and I was going through my own journey of memories, and then I realized, okay, this is very interesting. Let's have a lesson on that. Then I started thinking, how can I have gratitude when I have so many difficult people around? So then I realized that because I have some people who are not difficult in my life, and one of them is my mother. And when I was growing up, probably I did not have that gratitude for her, because she has been the best person on my life who didn't even ask me why you're doing this and why did you do that, which I think I can relate to it today. So when I was doing that lesson, this came up to me that I want to be like her. I want to be like that to my children, who is not at all difficult, who gives you space, who understands where you're coming from, and yet she can be compassionate about your opinions. So when I was designing this lesson, I realized it is so important to give gratitude to people who are difficult, so that we can understand this is not what we want to be. So thank you for teaching us this.
You know, one of these lessons I had actually came up with when I do my meditation. There's two types of meditation I do. And what I find fascinating, I have what you call a release, where I just release all thoughts and all experiences, and I don't want to hold on to anything. And then I ask for in my meditation for lessons, to be a lesson given to me, or a lesson that I am giving to learn. Like everything we are going through is our gurus, our teacher. It's something that's wrapped up in a form of a lesson that says, this is something I think you want to learn today. And when you're talking about gratitude and how things are taught to you, I was referring to suffering this morning. How when something is causing suffering, there's a lesson in the suffering that must be taught to me feeling it. So I latched onto that suffering, and what I got was how people dislike our president of this United States here, and there's a lesson in there for me. There may be a lesson in there for others, but listening to this and how I feel about how the negativity towards it, because to me it's just negativity, and it's the suffering that people relate to another person, that there's a lesson in there for me to learn what they're going through.
Well, absolutely, we all have to do that, because down the time in the years, we all have suffered, because of our own mistakes, or like give an example of someone else's mistakes. And the more we hold on to it, the more we hold on to that negative thoughts, the more we are suffering, which we don't even understand that our body is taking it all, the negative emotions, or the way we are giving emotions to our surrounding. So one way I do to myself is, and like you said, Ki, after your meditation, you take the message that has come from your meditation, the gurus, the lessons. So my way of taking those lessons are, one is I see my tarot cards and I see what is it that I have to learn today. And the other way, which you said, you release a lot, and the sufferings and everything, that what are they teaching us? I go back to my time when I felt that feeling of suffering came to me. I try to give that feeling of healing to that situation, to that person, that probably I had to learn something and I've learned it, now I want to release it, and I also want to send healing to that person. So what I do is, even you know that, it's a Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. These are 4 lines, but they mean a lot. So there are times when, because of our ego, we have not been able to acknowledge the person, that of course, whatever suffering happened, there was some my part also in it. Or you were going through something else and I thought of something else. So that is my way of releasing it, and I also give healing, and I change the vibes and frequency of my thoughts for that person, so that I can release it fully from my body.
Because that's when we develop. If we hold if we hold all negativity within us, it causes dysfunction within us, and that's the one thing I keep trying to educate, give information to other people. Like, I understand what you're feeling, know what you're feeling, and then once you know what you're feeling, if you don't know, it causes so much disruption and confusion within the chemistry of the body. Because, as you know, I teach that connection between emotions and chemistry within the body, and how that causes such conflict and muscle tearness and muscle disease and cellular disease and heart disease and all these different things. And that's just because you're having one negatively thought. It's causing a bad chemical reaction within the body.
As simple as a headache.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, I have a headache. Why the headache comes? Because you're trying to do something probably which you didn't want to do, and that all negativity is pondering on you. And what you could have easily said was, okay, I don't want to do this thing right now, but I can do it next day or the other day, or I understand what you're trying to say. As a result, we take that emotion or the thought process or the feedback of the person so personally that we start to keep having those baggages in our mind. It can be like a baggage of guilt, it can be a baggage of anger, it can be a baggage of disgust, and that is how it gets to us, and that is how you see yourself getting into diseases like cancer, and like you fully said that, how this is damaging yourself rather than releasing it and getting on to a different thought process.
So
you're not able to shift that easily.
So before we go, I want to do this. I want to let you know I want to do this again. I don't like to take up too much time of people in the early morning because I want them to get up to listen to the Healthy Mind show with me. And thank you, Dr. Shaniva, for coming on with me, for one. But people need to develop their practice, their meditation, their prayers, and their exercise to release all this bad cortisol that's affecting their bodies. But when I want to ask you real quickly about the tarot card readings, that can you do that for people if they contact you online, or they can do it over the phone, so they can have some readings to understand like where they're. Because some people here don't understand tarot cards is not so much telling about your future, but telling you where you are.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm doing that. And Dr. Dyer, I can tell you that I don't charge for all these services. So my way of doing for the tarot cards is because these are reflections, these are guidance. So anyone can send me a message, and I have been doing it from LinkedIn. I've been doing on my WhatsApp, my Instagram. I get a lot of messages, and I try to send them as much as guidance I can. And I would say that it has helped them a lot. Especially in these times, there's some people who are messaging me that we don't have job and it's not going to work, and I'm getting such lovely messages by saying thank you for guiding us. And because see, the guidance shifted their frequency.
Yes.
From anxiety to some purpose. So when they're sending me tarot questions, they're trying to give me their present vibration, what they're feeling. And I am giving them guidance, what the guidance comes in from divine. Let's shift your frequency and work on the present rather than what will happen in future. So absolutely, they can send me messages, and I'm doing that. I'm helping them out, and it's very possible. All I need is their date of birth and their present picture. That's about it.
Well, I will make sure that I will put it in the link. I know, what is her Instagram? I just got a message saying, what is her Instagram? I will actually put the Instagram in the link. Thank you for asking the questions. I know I normally take questions on Instagram and YouTube and then also Facebook, but because we're having this question you want to just give your Instagram so maybe people could find it now? Because I'm going to put it in the link or the comments, but I'm going to make sure people read it.
I'm with the same name everywhere. You can send me anywhere. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Is Dr. Shivani Khetan 376. It's SHIVANIKHETAN 376. And on Facebook, I'm on the name of Dr. Shivani Khetan. That's it.
So I know
This page.
if that was difficult for you to understand, I will make sure after we get off the phone, I will put it in the comments on my Instagram page and then on my Twitter and on my Facebook, so everyone can have it, so that you can contact her, because I really think, like you were talking about, this is about shifting our vibration and shifting, and then once you shift the vibration, we shift our frequency, and it's just thank you so much. I
Thank
know.
you so much, Dr. Dyer. Thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure, and thank you. It's always something to learn from you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I will talk to you. I will text you later in the day. I know it's afternoon for you, but after I finish this up, I will just say thank you again. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaskar.
So we just had a great conversation with Dr. Shaniva, and it's very important that we understand that there are actually people out there who are creating this light force for us, and that we all can do something, and it's about taking action, and it's about taking the action, information, understanding. Again, I don't like to take up too much of your morning, but I will put in the links of how to get in touch with Dr. Shaniva also. I wish you all good health, good, stay safe, and be blessed. Make sure you get your meditation in. Make sure you get your prayers in and get your exercises in. And I will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. This is The Healthy Mind with Dr. Paul.